Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today's video is going to be a chopping block update. So a couple of weeks ago, I shared a bunch of products that I was kind of on the fence about. I was thinking about decluttering, but that I wanted to give a few more chances before I decided for sure. So today I'm going to be deciding which products stay and which products go. I've been testing them out a bunch over the last couple of weeks. I did want to test them out one last time on my face. A lot of people did request that I do like a full face of chopping block products. We're gonna give them kind of one final chance, and then at the end of this video I'll kind of share my final decisions. So let's go ahead and get started. So I did pick two primers to put in my chopping block. The Jordana Pore Refining Primer and the NYX Angel Veil Primer. So I'm gonna do one on each side of my face today. I gotta say, I don't hate either of these. And I almost think I like the NYX Angel Veil better than I thought I did. There were a few times with various different foundations that I would wear one on one side and nothing on the other, or one on one side and the other one on the other side. I did it with the Flower Light Illusion, which is another thing on my chopping block, but I also did it with my favorite Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. And I would ask my boyfriend which side of my face he thought looked better. And a couple of times it was the Angel Veil side that he liked better, and he said it looked a little bit more smoother and less textured. So I think what I found with this one is less is more. In fact, that might have even been too much. But I think just a very small amount can make a little bit of a difference. It's not like a monumental difference, but it may actually be doing something. And then the Jordana one so this side has Jordana, now I'm doing Angel Veil. The Jordana one kind of feels almost just like a lightweight moisturizer. So it's also, you only get 0.68 fluid ounces in here, which is less than the usual amount that you get in a primer. So I don't think it would be too hard for me to pan this. I mean, I've already used kind of a lot of it. I'm honestly leaning towards keeping both of these. I don't feel super strongly about them, but I kind of said in my original chopping block video that if I found that they were either not doing a whole lot or that I actually ended up liking them, I would keep them. But I would only get rid of them if I ended up finding them doing something negative. And I don't feel like either one has a negative effect. So I probably will keep both and just kind of use them up since I have them. Okay, so for the Flower Light Illusion Foundation, at first I was kind of leaning towards keeping this because I really do like the way that it looks when I first apply it. I do have to mix a tiny bit of my shade adjuster drops, just like half a drop, because it is ever so slightly too light, and I do think that's part of why I wasn't liking it at first. Too light foundations can really look wrong. Like they almost look powdery, or like it's like they're sitting on your skin because, oh, that's still too light. But that is, that's the precise reason why I have these shade adjusting drops, is so that I can use foundations that are not quite the right shade. So that shouldn't be a problem. I'm actually gonna try blending this in with my fingers today. I feel like sometimes that can help. So my issue with this foundation is I feel like as it wears on my skin throughout the day, it starts to just sit weird on my skin and accentuate texture, cling to dry patches, basically all the things that I don't want my foundation to do. But I think today I'm gonna try actually not setting it with powder. That's gonna be my final test. If I still don't like it, it's gonna go, because I just have foundations that I like better. Ooh, I don't like the way this looks. Already, I don't like it. All right, it's not looking good for you, Flower Light Illusion. I've done all the things. Like, usually when I don't love a foundation, I'll try using a lot less of it than I normally like. I'll try applying it with my fingers instead of a sponge. I'll try it with all sorts of different primers, which I've done. Tried it with all different primer combinations. This time I haven't yet tried it without powder, because I almost always do set with a little bit of powder. But we're gonna try it with no powder today. I don't like it. It's looking super dry on my chin, my upper lip, in between my eyebrows, forehead. Overall, I like the finish, but can you see how dry it looks right here? I think I've already made up my mind. I don't really feel like there's much of a difference between the two primers. I feel like it looks about the same on both sides. Maybe a little bit more matte on this side, on the NYX Angel Veil side. I'm going to quickly do concealer This is just my Too Faced Born This Way. This is not part of the chopping block. So the highlighter that I put on the chopping block is this e.l.f. Liquid Illuminator, and so far I am thinking that this one is going to stay. I do really like it. I think I just needed to remind myself how much I like it. It's a very glossy highlighter, so I'll just kind of put some on the back of my hand and then dab it onto my cheekbones. And then I'll usually take my sponge and just kind of blend out the edges. And then maybe take whatever's left onto my forehead, maybe a little on the bridge of the nose. Isn't that pretty? Ooh, that is really pretty. And I don't feel like it's lifting up my foundation or concealer at all. Yeah, I really like that. Okay, so I'm not gonna set my face, I'm just gonna set my under eyes. So I'm gonna quickly do my eyelid primer and brows, and then we will come back to do some eyeshadow. So just to refresh your memory, in my chopping block I actually had 3 eyeshadows. One was a duo, the Jordana eyeshadow duo. I have already decided to get rid of this. I have tried it so many times, and as much as I love the shimmer shade itself, it has little bits, oh I just swatched it way too vigorously. It has little bits of glitter in it that create so much fallout no matter what I do. And it is such a beautiful shade, but I don't know if you can tell how it has like distinct glitter particles in it. And whether I use it with a glitter glue, I wet my brush, I use a sponge tip applicator, my finger, I've tried it all sorts of ways, and every single time I get glitter on my cheeks and it will not come off. Like I can't just brush it off with a brush. So unfortunately this has to go. I also have similar shades elsewhere in my collection. I have a loose eyeshadow from Terramare that's sort of similar. It's not the same, but as much as I would have loved to keep this because it is such a pretty color, and that matte cream color is perfectly fine. I really do like that for setting the lid and highlighting the brow bone, but that fallout is just, I can't tolerate it. But then also the e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette and the Profusion Spectrum palette. I don't really know where this look is going to go. I kind of want to use the Spectrum palette though because I haven't used this much yet and I need to give it a chance. So I saw a look on Instagram by State of Kate, but she did kind of like a very light wash of lime green eyeshadow in her outer corner and sort of winged it out and left the lid completely bare. And I know that won't give us like a ton of experience with this palette as a whole if I just do that, but I really want to try that because it looks so cool. And I don't even like the color lime green. It's like one of my least favorite colors, but I really want to try it. And she was inspired to do this look by somebody else on Instagram named Monica Jew. So I will credit both of them for this idea because I usually don't do like editorial looks like this. I'm gonna try this angled brush. This is the Come Through contour brush from MOTD. And I'm gonna try, since these shadows are kind of sheer, that's typically my complaint with them. I'm just gonna sort of start creating a little wing with it and just see what happens. I sort of was pretty sure that I was going to declutter this palette, but I feel like this might kind of convince me to keep it. So I do feel like it's going on patchy, which I guess I could, maybe I'll try setting the lid. Actually, you know what, why don't I set the lid with that cream color from the Jordana Duo on this side, or at least kind of set the crease area in this part just so that I can really get it to blend nicely. And I'll go ahead and do the brow bone here too. That is pretty fun though. I love how it's such a like minimalistic kind of look. And it's literally just one shade. See how it's a little patchy though? So now let me take this brush again and kind of just blend. There's nothing on this brush other than whatever's left of that cream color. I might throw in a little bit of the shade Marigold, which is that yellow, just to kind of make it a slightly more yellowy green. Just a little bit. or a lot, you know, whatever. So that's really fun. Part of me wants to just keep going with these colors. I could put a little bit of Bermuda in my inner corner, or I could take something from Opposites Attract. I could take Cube, or not Cube, Low Key, which is similar to Cube from Subculture. Why don't I do that? Just so we can technically use all three of these eyeshadows palettes. Let's just leave it like that. That looks so cool. Why am I now wanting to keep this Spectrum palette? For lips, I have 4 products here. So we have the e.l.f. Tinted Lip Oil, and then 3 lipsticks from Axiology. I have the shade Clarity, which is a red, Loyalty, which is kind of a cool mauve, and then Vibration, which is a sheer red crayon. I'm gonna try Clarity on. I'll probably take it off, but I don't think I've used this one yet. You know, I really do like that red. It's kind of weird. I talked about this in the first chopping block video. The thing that's weird to me about these Axiology lipsticks is that they all have this sort of frosty, blue-based sheen to them. Can you see what I'm talking about? It's almost like, it's not shimmery per se, but it has this pearly sheen to it that is a little weird to me. But with this red, I feel like it works. Like, I feel like this is a good winter red, like when it's snowing. I could see this being a good red. So I actually think I am gonna keep this one. It doesn't go with this eye look very well, or it's at least not, it's not what I envisioned with this eye look, but I do really like that shade now that I put it on. So I think that one is gonna get to stay. Now the shade Loyalty, I guess I'll just go ahead and try all of these on. Loyalty is more of a nude pinky mauve. And the thing is, if I'm gonna wear a nude pinky mauve like this, I'm gonna reach for my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipstick. And this one is similar to that, but it has that weird sheen that I just feel like doesn't quite work. They are nice and creamy. It's a pretty pink. Now that I'm wearing it again, I'm kind of like, oh, I kind of want to keep it. But I know that I have other nude pinks that I like better. And this is almost a little bit too pink for me, you know? I'm picky about my pinks. So with the e.l.f. Tinted Lip Oil in Raspberry Truffle Kiss, this is like a brick red lip oil. So think a gloss, but thinner because it's an oil. To me, this is just too dark of a shade for a lip oil, and it bleeds and kind of feathers and settles into my lip lines really quickly. Now, one person suggested, and I did try this, kind of just applying a sheer layer with my finger, almost like a tinted balm. And now that I have it on again, I am like tempted to keep it. For what I kind of had my mind made up about getting rid of this, but it does give kind of just this nice sort of almost popsicle stained look, and I kind of want to keep it now. Oh no. I feel like this would be a really pretty holiday sheer red, you know what I'm saying? So far, not doing too well. The fourth one is Axiology Vibration, and this is kind of a sheer orangey red. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get rid of this one. The thing about this that I don't like is that it's a warm red, but it has that blue frosty sheen that the other red one also has, but this red is a little bit less warm. It works a little bit better with that one, but with this one, it's just, the sheen is just throwing me off, and I don't really like it. It makes it feel kind of cheap to me. So I think the crayon is gonna go, the nude pink is gonna go, and then the red and the e.l.f. lip oil is actually gonna stay. I'm actually surprised that I wound up deciding to keep this e.l.f. lip oil because I was almost certain I was gonna get rid of it. But that's why I wanted to do this chopping block series, because it helps me kind of give everything a fair chance. So I think the one that I'm gonna finish off the look with is the e.l.f. Tinted Lip Oil. I feel like a sheer lip goes best with this eye look. Yeah, it's almost like a blotted lip kind of look. I like that. Ooh, okay. So you may be wondering, Sarah, what about the e.l.f. color correcting sticks? So I ended up deciding to just declutter these. They don't work as color correctors on my under eyes. They just don't make enough of a difference for it to be worth the extra step. I did say in my chopping block video that I was thinking about repurposing them as blushes. I've kind of decided not to just because I already have so many blushes in my collection. I feel satisfied with all the blush colors that I already have. And so I have dark and light. They're both kind of just like peachy orange colors. The dark one I just don't think would work as a blush, and the light one is very similar to the e.l.f. Cantaloupe blush in their Bite Size Face Duo, and since I already have a blush that color, I just don't really need to have another one, you know? So I think I would rather pass these on to someone else who might be able to get them to work as color correctors. The thing with color correctors is it's so dependent on your specific undertones, and these just didn't really work with my undertones, but they are really nice. They glide on really nice and smooth. They're really creamy. So I feel like somebody out there could like these and really find them useful, but for me, they're just not doing enough. The foundation, I like it from far away, like looking in my mirror, but if I look up a little bit closer, I hate it. So I think I've made up my mind. This is gonna have to go to a new home. I know a lot of people love this foundation, which leads me to think that I can certainly find someone who would end up really liking it. I think I'm gonna keep both of these primers. I definitely think they're pannable. Primers are one of the things that I have an easier time panning, and they're both kind of just okay, but because they're easy for me to pan, I'd rather just pan them since I've already spent my money on them. The e.l.f. Liquid Illuminator, I'm gonna keep this. The sun keeps going behind clouds, so I'm sorry the lighting keeps changing, but I don't have anything else like this in my collection. It's kind of a glossy highlighter. It does have a pearlescent finish to it, but I like the texture of this. I'm gonna keep this. With the lip products, like I said, I'm keeping the e.l.f. lip oil and the Axiology Clarity shade, and then I am passing on Loyalty and Vibration. Jordana Duo is going. Here's the hard part, is these two palettes. So I'd already kind of made up my mind that I was going to keep the Opposites Attract palette, and I think I still am. I've done a few shades with this that I really liked this month that I think were different than looks that I could have created with Subculture. In my first chopping block video, I was talking about how I feel like this is so similar to Subculture that it's almost silly to have both. But now I'm realizing I think there are enough differences that I would like to keep this, and also the formula is completely different. This is a little bit of a more sheer buildable formula, whereas Subculture is a little more just like pure pigment. They can be a little trickier to blend, whereas these are buildable and easily blendable and just a little more user-friendly. So I feel like both this and Subculture still have a place in my collection. I was so sure I was going to pass this on, but I think I might actually keep this as well. At least for the time being. Since this is so inexpensive, I feel like it's fine for the price if you just want to add some of these bright colors to your collection and you don't want to spend a lot of money because you know you're not going to use them often. I think I'm going to hold on to this and maybe in the future invest in some colored rain shadows, because that's a brand I've been wanting to try. I know that I've heard they do colorful shadows really, really well, and I know they have some kind of rainbow palettes, so I might look into that brand, but in the meantime keep this just so that I have these colors, because I did try to find dupes within my collection of these shadows, and most of these colors I don't have anywhere else in my collection except for maybe this Ember shade, the deep red. I do have something like that in Modern Renaissance and Billie Beauty Eyes of India, and I do have a yellow in my collection, but all the other shades, I have a purple from ColourPop similar to this, but all the others are just different. I don't have an orange or a hot pink or a lime green or like a cobalt blue like this. So for now I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm actually surprised that I decided to do that. So that means that we are getting rid of 6 products and keeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So kind of 50-50. I'm really happy with these choices. It does feel like a relief to just kind of pass on some things that I don't love. And I'm glad that I gave these other 7 products another shot, because I think I just needed to play with them a little bit more and kind of figure out what I thought of them. And it's not to say I'll never declutter any of those things in the future, but for now I do still think they have a place in my collection. And yeah, let me know if you liked this kind of different take on a declutter. I also like doing declutters where I just kind of take you through my whole collection and we weed things out one by one. And I probably will continue to do those in the future, especially when I feel like that's kind of what I'm needing to do. But sometimes there's a lot of products that I'm kind of like so about that I need to figure out my thoughts on, and that's when I'll do chopping block videos like this. So if you enjoyed this, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you again very soon, and hopefully I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.